There is one line in a file you have probably never opened, and it can quietly delete you from ChatGPT's answers. Short answer. Three things decide whether ChatGPT cites you: whether OpenAI's search crawler is allowed on your site, whether you are in the index it reaches for, and whether you appear on the sources it already leans on. Only the first of those is a hard gate, and it is the only one with a first-party sentence behind it. OpenAI's own crawler documentation says, in their words, that sites which are opted out of OAI-SearchBot will not be shown in ChatGPT search answers. That is a switch, not a theory. The other two are strong observations, and I will say which is which every time. Last time we established that a citation is bound to a span of the answer, not to your page. Today we go one level earlier. How your page gets into the pool it quotes from at all. You will see our own robots.txt on screen, mistake included, the checks we run for clients at Webappski, and what 3 free AI visibility tools say about any of this, which is nothing. Here is why this stings more than a writing problem. If your sentence is weak, you get cited less. If this line is wrong, you are not in the running at all. The page can be perfect, the schema can be perfect, and the crawler never arrives. So nothing you wrote is in the pool the answer is drawn from. And every dashboard you own shows the same flat, low number with no explanation attached. So check one, and it takes 2 minutes. Open your site /robots.txt and look for OAI-SearchBot. That is OpenAI's search crawler, and it decides whether you can appear in a ChatGPT search answer. Now the part almost everybody gets wrong. GPTBot is a different bot with a different job. OpenAI's documentation says it crawls content that may be used in training their foundation models. Blocking it changes nothing about whether ChatGPT cites you today. It changes whether your writing can enter a future model. 2 bots, 2 questions. Read the row, not the label. Let me show you a real file. Ours, so nobody else gets graded. This is webappski.com/robots.txt, exactly as any crawler sees it. Scroll to the block marked AI crawlers. There it is. User agent, OAI-SearchBot. Allow /. Check 1, passed. Now let me show you what is wrong with this file. Look up at the top. That first group is the one for every crawler, and it carries our rules. Do not crawl the 404 page. Do not crawl the order pages. Do not crawl the portal. And none of those 3 rules reach OAI-SearchBot. Not one. The moment we gave that crawler its own named group, it stopped inheriting anything from the group above. That is not a bug in our file. That is the specification. Here it costs us little, because those paths sit behind a login, and a login is what protects them. Never a line in this file. And here is the rule itself, in Google's own documentation on how robots.txt is interpreted. Quote, only one group is valid for a particular crawler, end quote. The crawler finds the group whose user agent matches it most specifically, and every other group is ignored. So the group you wrote for everyone is not the group that applies to a bot you named. And a few lines down, the sentence that quietly costs people their visibility. Quote, user agent specific groups and global groups are not combined. End quote. Whatever you put in a named group is the whole law for that crawler. Everything you wrote elsewhere, protections and permissions alike, stops at that boundary. So if you have ever pasted an AI bot's block from a blog post into a file that already had careful rules in it, go and read what that group contains. It is the only thing that crawler will see. One more thing while our file is on screen. Scroll down. We named 17 crawlers in there. 3 of them can cost a citation today. OpenAI's search crawler, Perplexity's crawler, and Anthropic's search crawler. The rest are not junk. GPTBot governs whether your writing can enter a future training corpus. A real question, just a slower one. But if somebody charges you to unblock the training bots so that AI can cite you, you are paying for the wrong row. And notice the one gating crawler we did not name. Googlebot stays in the first group, so it still follows our rules. And Googlebot is how you reach the index Check 2 is about.
Check 2. The index. Here, the most repeated piece of ChatGPT advice on the internet is half out of date. So let me give you both halves. Half 1. OpenAI's own help page on ChatGPT Search says it partners with other search providers, and it names Bing and Shopify. We read that page directly on the 1st of August, and Bing was named. Being indexed in Bing is not wasted effort.
Half 2. Microsoft retired the Bing Search APIs in August 2025, and across that year, on a 1,000-prompt panel run by Profound, ChatGPT's overlap with Bing's results fell from 26% to 8%, while its overlap with Google's climbed from around 12 to 33. In one public test, ChatGPT even quoted a page indexed only in Google. Those are other people's measurements, and I hand them to you as measurements, not as a law.
So the instruction is neither obey Bing nor ignore Bing. Google's index is where the weight has moved, so that is where the effort goes first. Real server-rendered pages, a sitemap that is true, Googlebot not blocked. Then spend the 23 minutes it takes to submit that sitemap in Bing's Webmaster Tools, because OpenAI still names Bing and it costs you nothing. That is the whole of Check 2.
Check 3. The sources it already leans on. ChatGPT does not sample the web evenly. In a study of 600,000 citation events in the United States published this year, Wikipedia and Reddit together accounted for more than a quarter of everything ChatGPT cited. So for a small business, the move is not to be everywhere. It is to be correctly described on the 2 or 3 reference and community surfaces where your category is genuinely discussed.
And now the caveat, because I would rather you heard it from me. In another measurement, across more than 100 million citations, Reddit's share collapsed from about 60% to about 10% in roughly 6 weeks. Treat the source mix as weather. The crawler line is architecture. Build on the architecture and dress for the weather. So what do the free AI visibility tools tell you about any of this? I checked 3 of them again today. Ahrefs first, and credit where it is due. Their AI visibility checker is genuinely free. The page says it in these words: no sign-up required, results in seconds. And the report behind it is real. Total AI mentions, mentions by platform, top topics, top cited domains, top cited pages. Now search that page for the word robots. 0 hits. Nothing about crawler access. Nothing about OAI-SearchBot. Nothing about GPTBot. It will tell you that ChatGPT is not mentioning you. It will not tell you that ChatGPT cannot reach you. SEMrush is the same shape and generous with access. 3 runs a day without registering and a well-built report. Visibility score, mentions, citations, platform coverage, top cited pages, competitor comparison. Not one of those dimensions is crawler access. HubSpot's grader asks for no account for a single run and returns a composite score across 5 dimensions: sentiment, presence quality, brand recognition, share of voice, market competition. 5 dimensions and not one of them is access. If your one gating line were wrong, all 3 would hand you a low number and none of them would tell you why. Here is what we do differently, and it is why our own tracker exists. aeo-platform is open source and free on NPM, and its crawl audit does not report a number of blocked bots. It labels each bot by what blocking it costs. Search tier. Locking it removes you from that engine's answers. Training tier. Training corpus only, no measured effect on today's citations. User tier. The fetch is user-triggered and generally ignores your file anyway, and it carries a guard that refuses to write you a task for unblocking a training bot. That refusal
is the product.
Now the payoff, and I owe you our own second failure. Check 3 is the one we are worst at. Search Wikipedia for Webappski today, and you get 0 results. 0. We are absent from the surface ChatGPT leans on hardest, and we cannot fix it by writing a page about ourselves, because Wikipedia asks for independent coverage first. That check is red on our own board, and it stays red for a while. I would rather show you that than sell you a shortcut.
So here is the whole ChatGPT checklist we run for every client at Webappski in order. 1. OAI-SearchBot allowed in robots.txt. The only one of the 5 that is a switch. 2. Read the named group you gave it because it inherits nothing from the group above. 3. Server-rendered pages in Google's index and Googlebot not blocked. 4. A sitemap submitted in Bing's webmaster tools because OpenAI still names Bing. 5. An honest presence on the 2 or 3 reference and community surfaces where your category is discussed, and no faith in that mix staying as it is.
5 checks. The first takes 2 minutes, and most sites have never looked. If you want us to run all 5 across your site, the first audit is free, and the link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. Next time, the same question for the engine that runs its own index. What does Gemini look at when it cites a source? Thanks for watching.